Gravity Rush Remastered is a visually upgraded port of the PlayStation Vita game, which was originally released in 2012, now ported on to the PlayStation 4 system. Just like its 2012 counterpart, Gravity Rush Remastered is still the clever take on a superhero-style game with JRPG roots, but with a unique twist on mechanics and an engaging story. Gravity Rush Remastered has beautiful watercolor art mixed with cel-shading graphics, which is a very different art style and it is very rare to find in games today. Gravity Rush gives players a new fun way to play, using gravity shifting mechanics that are hard to grasp at first, but once you grasp the concept, it becomes second nature. Gravity Rush follows the story of a gravity shifter named Kat, who starts off the story suffering of amnesia. Kat takes shelter in a town called Heskeyasville, where she starts her journey in finding out who she is and how she got her mysterious power. Along the way, she picks up side missions that reveal more details about the city and the events that have been surrounding it in recent months. The side stories are not only interesting, but they also get the gamer emotionally invested, which I would say is rare in video games today, especially coming from a side story. One side story in particular involves two love-struck travelers who have been lost in time, separated from each other forever, and desperately trying to find their way back to one another. And only Kat is able to see and communicate with them for short periods of time. This side story made me really think about my current relationships and how much I should cherish them, something few games have made me do in recent memory. Surprisingly, I found Gravity Rush's storyline to be the best part of the game. Gravity Rush is anime-like in presentation and it meshes really well with the comic book style storytelling. You follow Kat as she starts off hated by everyone in the city, but works her way to a better reputation, helping the city in its dire time of need against the alien-like creatures known as the Nevi. Gravity Rush does a good job of making you care about Kat and the emotions she is feeling, whether it's being jealous because of a love interest or having a hard time not being liked by everybody in the city. As you start to gain context of what's happened over time, the story reveals the inner life of Kat and the real person she is. Right when you start off to get extremely invested in the character, unfortunately, the story is stopped abruptly, without giving you any real closure, leaving you with a sour taste of dissatisfaction and incompletion in your mouth. The downside of Gravity Rush, unfortunately, comes with the thing that makes the game so unique in the first place, and that's its mechanics. I found the mechanics fun at first, but it's obvious the original PS Vita game held back the potential of the game with the limited buttons and the power of the system. The problems I encountered came with taking down larger enemies. The earlier enemies can be disposed of quick and easy with a few on-ground kicks, but when the enemies started becoming larger and more airborne, I found myself repeatedly overshooting enemies due to the Nevi shifting ever so slightly left and right, making me double back to retry, just to find myself overshooting them once again. This cycle repeated over and over again, leaving me screaming into a pillow at times. The developer tries to fix the clunky mechanics by giving you rechargeable super moves that target weak points on enemies. To me, this was just not a practical solution and an easily forgettable addition. The black and red balls of goo got tiring to fight due to repetitiveness of enemy design and the missions themselves, which just seemed to be clear this area of Nevi to get a cutscene to progress the story. When boss fights came around, I found them different and interesting enough to have a good time fighting the unique Nevi, but I still felt as if it wasn't enough variety to be engaging. I found myself spending the most time and having the most fun just flying around the city collecting the pink gems that are used to upgrade your character and unlock side missions that give you fun obstacles to challenge yourself with and give the game some replay value. Side missions were fun and allowed you to use the mechanics in a fun, different way that changes it up from just throwing yourself at Nevi all day. I sunk hours upon hours into collecting the precious gems, trying to upgrade Kat to her most powerful form, and gold medaling all the side missions just for fun. As for the DLC added into the game, it's just more Gravity Rush, and more side stories, which I found enjoyable, but seems a little disjointed at times. The size and scope of the game was obviously hindered by the power of the PlayStation Vita, with lackluster draw distances that make finding gems and objectives harder than it should be. This does not change in the PS4 version, and it's frustrating at times. Gravity Rush Remastered is brimming with potential and is extraordinarily unique and different, but is hindered by the PlayStation Vita hardware it is ported from, with clunky mechanics that make combat frustrating and draw distances that just make you scratch your head. Gravity Rush is far from perfect. Once you look past the repetitive combat and enemies, there is fun to be had with the Gravity Rush Remastered. In fact, you get an interesting storyline that keeps you engaged in hours of replayability with addictive gem collecting, exploring the city, and side missions. There's plenty to do. Gravity Rush is a title worth exploring on the PS4, and at the price point, you would be crazy not to give it a go.